Hello and welcome to February 2024 wrap-up. It is our privilege to bring the latest in audio gear for production sound mixers. Welcome Nick Huston in studio. Hi, Nick.
Howdy.
And TK Edmondson. Hi in Atlanta.
Hey, how you doing?
All right. Let's get into it. We got some events to talk about.
We sure do. The next one coming up is in New York City. It's March 9th from 3 to 4:30. It is a sound mixer and boom op fitness workshop. So it is being sponsored by Shure. So tickets without the Shure sponsorship are $45. But if you use the code Shure24, it is $15.
Thank you, Shure.
Yeah. So if you want to sweat with Peter Schneider.
Well, wait, no. Let me be clear. It's not like an exercise class. This is really like practical stretches and exercises that can be done by mixers and boom operators. Those are pretty unique strains on the body. So definitely exercises, stretches, flexibility, with those positions, those crew positions in mind.
Also coming up is NAB in Las Vegas. That's April 13th to the 17th. So we will be covering that live. Any new things that debut, we'll be going there, we'll be interviewing, we'll be interacting, so you can follow that on both YouTube and Facebook. But if you happen to want to go to Las Vegas and would like access to the exhibits for free, you can use the code EM18. And last but not least, our own version of NAB, but focused for location sound, is the Gotham Expo. And that is coming up shortly after NAB. That is Saturday, May the 4th be with you from 11 to 3 at the Local 52 Union Hall in Astoria, Queens.
And thanks to Local 52 for once again hosting us.
It's a great space.
And I think we're going to have the Young Workers Committee from Local 52 have a booth there, all kinds of labor-related and environmental-related booths there, in addition to the manufacturers.
Yep, and there's food, and we usually do like a used gear thing.
Little swap.
A little swappy swap, so it's a good time.
Well, look, now I do have something sad to talk about, which is Aaton has, the term has been declared insolvent. They are not shipping any products. As far as I know, at this moment, their website is non-functioning. Shout out to Adam Sanchez for pulling all of the documents off the website. He's making a Google Doc. We're contributing our service docs to that. And I know that Mike Paul at LSC is active in that. So stay tuned for information about that. And by all means, if you have an Aaton, you probably are active on Facebook on their group, but that's where that information will get disseminated first. But our hearts go out first and foremost to the employees of Aaton, or former employees, I should say. And the contribution to cinema history and their contribution to audio history is sadly going to be mourned.
The company was over 40 years old. They were making 16 Super 16 cameras, modeled after cats on the shoulder.
Yeah.
And they were in the audio recorder game for the better part of 20 years. I mean, the X1 was, the early 2000s?
In a way, the X1 kind of revolutionized what was possible to do on reality television.
Yeah.
I always thought that was a little bit ironic that was sort of its big foothold in the US, at least. Laguna Beach, I think.
City.
Yeah.
You're right, because at the time other recorders either didn't have as many channels or they didn't have the storage, because it was all other things were based on optical media. So the Kantar that you could record to an internal FireWire drive, pull it off, send it out, put a new one on, and you'd record all day.
Yeah.
And it was heavy.
Yes.
It was real heavy, but it was built like, a tank.
It's heavy, but, for the same weight in the Nagra days, you got 2 tracks. And here, I think the X1 was it 18 tracks?
Yeah, it was 8 tracks.
8 tracks.
8 tracks, yeah. And it had a built-in DVD drive, which I still think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
This is nice to hear, little stories from back in the day. So.
Their contribution to cinema, I mean, French New Wave happened in large part because of Jean-Pierre's, innovations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Christina Wittich and I made our way to Grenoble. We made a doc with Jean-Pierre, and we'll put a link in the description. You should check it out. I mean, I remember the day we showed up was the day that they were sort of in transition, through Transvideo.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was an interesting day. Anyways, Pierre and Pascal, we are thinking about you.
Yeah. So what this means for Kantar users, since the website is you're not able to upgrade your software there's no new firmware releases, there's no official support. And we do know that a group of Kantar enthusiasts, spearheaded by Tet de Mort, are working to acquire the tools to be able to service things going forward, but that is all in its infancy, and so we really will have to stay tuned.
Indeed.
Deity has released the BF1. This is their butterfly antenna. It's an omnidirectional antenna. It's available for $369. It includes 2 antennas, all the accessories. You get 2 of everything, essentially cables, a carrying case, and an actual cover case that you can store them in as well. So yeah, check that out from Deity, new antennas.
So we got a call from a production office coordinator asking if we had a computer, a camera, a microphone to run Zoom into, and could we get it to him the next day? And by the way, it had to have a monitor, like a 55-inch monitor. And we were asking him if this was something critical. He said, no, I just need to run a Zoom, production meeting for the executives that can't make it. And we had to turn him down, send him to a different AV house. But it got me thinking, what would a production office really find useful? And so we came up with a rig. It is a 55-inch monitor that has a Zoom room, which means just like you turn on the monitor and Zoom pops up, but you can do Teams and Google Meet and all that. It's on a hydraulic lift, so literally you just pull off the lid and the monitor lifts up out of the case, and now the case is the stand. It's got internet connectivity, so you can hook it up to hardwire, but because we put it through one of our PEP waves, we can kind of like preload it with Wi-Fi or remote in if there's any troubleshooting to be done.
Or go over cell.
Or go over cell if they have no internet connectivity for some reason. And because it's a Zoom room, it's got the microphone and the camera built in. So this is not meant for like on-set use. This is really just to get like a production meeting going to remote executives.
I mean, it could be, though. I mean, if there needed to be some kind of very portable video conferencing.
Sure. No, I mean, it's meant to like, be anywhere. It does need AC. It
does need AC. Yeah. Yep. Perfect. All right, so there's a new company in town called Eastwind Audio. They are remaking some old classics, including the what they're calling the TX Flex, which is essentially the older discontinued Omni gooseneck Omni microphone with a TA5 for Lectrosonics plant mics. They've got lavalier sticky discs. They've got some fur disc shields called covers. They've got some foam windscreens for shotguns, small diaphragm, handheld reporter lavaliers, etc. And there's also 2 different blimp windshield kits available. You'll have to check them out on our website if you are looking for that stuff.
I am particularly excited to see the return of the TX Flex gooseneck. Quick plant mic, like for car rigs and stuff.
No, people miss that for sure.
Yeah. So Glensound has a bunch of new stuff. We've been sort of huge supporters of Glensound over the years. We here in the studio use the Glensound Virgil box for our mic preamp and monitoring. It's got a high quality mic preamp, limiter built in, all kinds of options.
Headphones also.
Headphones.
It's an all-in-one box.
Over PoE Dante. It's cool. But anyways, they have some new stuff that they're making. They'll make anything, like they have so much specialized stuff. And if you go to them with an idea, they will take it very seriously. The 2 products that they just announced, one is for translation. So like anything that you can think of to do with live translation, which has come up, for us and comes up for mixers. This box is like a throwdown box. And typical Glensound fashion, it's PoE powered or DC or AC, Ethernet, fiber, like literally anything.
Connects the planet.
That's called the Charles.
Uh-huh.
And then they have the Sharon, which is a cool 1RU 8 SDI to Dante kind of embedder, de-embedder. Also runs on DC and AC and fiber and Ethernet and the whole thing. So very cool stuff. Worth checking out.
And new from Sennheiser is their Headmic 4. This is available. It's a cardioid microphone. It's lightweight with a metal frame. Comes with a soft case. You can get it terminated in either an 1/8 inch or either in Limo 3. Also, colors available are going to be black, silver, and beige. So check that out if you need a head-worn mic from Sennheiser.
Cool that it's in silver.
Yeah.
You just don't see silver in in like headset mics. It feels very fancy.
This is true.
Yeah.
Very true.
All right, so finally available, a couple of years ago at NAB, Tilta showed off the prototype of what they were calling the Zombie Rig. It's a an assisted booming technology to help save the backs and arms of boom operators, and we've been tracking it pretty closely, and it's now available. And so not only is it available, but we actually have one in store for demo and for rental. And it weighs about 5 pounds without the bag or the boom on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I've not personally tried it yet, but it bears looking at, especially for people that are doing long takes or doing where they have to boom most of the day. Yesterday we did a reality show where it was all booming because the people weren't couldn't be wired yet. So something like that where you can just fly the boom without having to the whole time. Seems like a cool idea.
Yeah, and I have to say, the version we saw at NAB with the motors and stuff, I looked at that and it seemed pretty complicated. This seems much simpler, streamlined, no motors. Like they didn't take the focus motors to make the pan tilt thing. This seems really super practical for almost any situation like you described. So yeah, check it out. It'll be, rumor has it, at the Gotham Expo, but otherwise hit us up in New York or Atlanta and we're happy to get you the demo.
Yeah, and we'd love to hear your feedback on it too.
Absolutely. I got to sit down with Ben from Shure and talk about WMAS technology, which I am super excited about. So first of all, the purpose of our conversation was that the FCC announced that they were laying the groundwork for the regulations to come into play. So we are talking about something very abstract. There's no product, that we could talk about, and really, nothing that I think. It's not about a specific product. It's really about an idea. And the idea is that, and I'm paraphrasing, we're taking some of the technology behind Wi-Fi and applying that to wireless mics, right? So just like, my phone, when it's on Wi-Fi, doesn't have a unique channel that's unique to that phone. It's sharing that Wi-Fi channel with all the other devices hitting that access point. So too are we taking that idea and applying it to wireless mics.
And this is in the UHF band, right?
Yes, that's a very important point. This is what paved the way. What the FCC kind of is saying is that we can do that in the UHF spectrum, where we can actually use up to 6 megahertz of spectrum in here in the States. But more practically, I think you'll see devices that use far, far less than that. More so than the couple hundred kilohertz that, each channel is in use now. But, figure it could be up to 6, but likely 1 or 2, depending on what you need.
Right.
Yeah. So very, very, very cool stuff. Nothing to talk about now in terms of products, but down the road, and I think that, this could all sort of spark our imagination.
WMAS for Christmas? Probably not.
Probably not.
Not this year, anyway.
Yeah.
And while we're at it, do take a look at our other videos that just came out. We did one with Deity, Radius, and there's all sorts of other stuff at GothamSound.tv.
Absolutely. Love talking to the Radius folks.
And now available from Zaxcom, and we have a video about this, speaking of that, is the Zaxcom VRX1. So that is their new VRX1 VHF IFB receiver that works with Comtech transmitters. They've got their dual bay charger, and Zaxcom has their own ERX VRX belt clip, which is OEM'd from Soundguys Solutions. So Soundguys will have their own as soon as they're able to manufacture them, because Zaxcom took all of their ones. But it's a pretty slick product. Do check out the video. It's competitively priced with other VHF receivers that work with Comtech, and it sounds pretty darn good.
And so a sound mixer looking to kind of replace their existing receivers, either through loss and damage or just to expand they can get this, have full backwards compatibility.
Exactly. Yeah, there's no need to change your transmitter in order to use this, take advantage of this.
And new from Ambient, the QP Slim internal cabling option. Now with the short and long slim poles, you can have an internal cable available either in straight XLR and mono or either stereo. And this is going to have the flow-through exit at the bottom. And the cable kits are easily retrofittable, and they have the very cool top piece at the top where you can take that easily on and off. So if you need to do this on set or anywhere in the field, you can do that then.
And now in stock from Wisycom. I think we did a piece on this last month, but more things in stock. The long-awaited MTP61 shipped in bulk. We were able to get through all of our back orders, so now we actually have some in stock. So if you are in need of some transmitters, the super tiny MTP61 is now available with the MCR50 Air Quad and the MRK16 and many other things from Wisycom. So exciting to be able to have to get through that.
Nice.
Yeah.
With availability, I have the other part of that.
Why do you have all the sad news? Who did this to you?
Yeah, well, we know who did this to me. Not naming names, Joe. Lectrosonics DPR is discontinued. Production stopped on the DPR. The DPR-A is still available. The DPR-A differs from the DPR because the A means antenna. It's got the antenna sticking out of the plug-on.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody wants that. Looking for a fix for the DPR 2025 is what we're told.
Yeah. So it's a complete redesign. So it's going to need new FCC approval. So if you need a digital plug-on transmitter for use at the end of a boom pole, for instance, you can use the DPR-A with the sticky offy antenna. But if you're looking for something for a stand-up microphone, you don't want the antenna sticking out the bottom, you can use the older HMA, which the A is not for antenna, which has no antenna. It's digital hybrid, but will transmit to the newer receivers.
Is the DPR also compatible with the digital hybrid? Receivers?
No, the DPR is the DPR and the DPR-A are D2 systems, so digital only.
Digital only.
The Electro receivers are full backwards compatible. So any of the new DSR4, DCR-A22, any of that stuff will work digital hybrid, which is why you can use that HMA as the transmitter. But it doesn't. The transmitters can't do both.
Right.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Viviana has their low-profile straps. They've renamed these. They were previously the MTP61 straps. They are now the low-profile straps. They also work for Zaxcom ZMT4s and transmitters of the like, Lectrosonics SSMs, things of that nature. These are going to be a 1 inch narrower compared to the regular straps, and they also will be only available in the Extreme series.
Okay, so this is kind of a neat product. So these are earbuffs, and I have some here. And this is new to us from Amy Wadford, who's a local union makeup artist. Mm-hmm. And basically, it's 12 pucks of moldable silicone earplug material that can, when put in the ear, can give you 22 decibels of noise reduction. So the thing that makes this unique is that it is in 6 different colors. And where this came from is that often on set, like especially if there is loud noises, gunfire, squibs, things like that,
sure,
the actors are going to need some ear protection. And so often, the ear protection only comes in one color. It might be orange, and they might have to paint it, or it might be, pink or whatever. But it's got to be painted to match the actor's ear color. So, we all come in different colors. I happen to be very pink.
Because you tried this on yourself.
I tried this on myself. Yeah. I happen to be very pink.
Uh-huh.
But what's cool about this is that you can, you can take the different colors. They pull apart, so you don't have to use the whole thing to stuff it into the ear, and it's moldable, and you just kind of squish it together. And you can create your own custom color between the different shades. She used Barbies. And so, Barbies with different color, different color Barbies holding different color earbuffs. It's very cute. So anyway, I think it's a good addition to the expendables that we have here. And I think, it's a good thing for a kit. It's cheap as heck. It's $17 for this thing. So just
wait. $17 for that.
For this pack, for the
Wow.
6 different pairs.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just kind of amazed that you can mix them and you have like kind of every situation you'd ever need or would encounter on set. This is and for $17, it's super cheap, and that's really, really great.
And the other thing we did was experiment with putting this around an earpiece like a Roger, just to give it a little extra seal. And I think it could work.
Yeah.
It depends on the person, but and the ear canal, but it's an interesting thing.
I imagine the extra isolation would also help. Are there any kind of health assurances on?
Yeah, I mean, I would have to go back and look through my notes, but we had a great meeting, and she rattled off all of the different certifications that she'd done, and it's not like she's not selling it out of her.
It's like
basement.
not silly putty or something.
No,
like that.
It's not silly putty. The other thing, for people that that like to fidget, like they need fidget toys. This is a great fidget toy. I took one that I had molded for myself, and just all day it was like smushing it together. It's very satisfying. So, just don't eat it.
Speaking of safety, Audioroot has an ionGuard fireproof pouch. This is basically like a fire-resistant fiberglass pouch that's compatible with the 98 watt-hour batteries, or even the 48, 49 watt-hour batteries. And they will starve a lithium battery fire from spreading. Look, it doesn't replace all the safety protocols of storing and charging lithium batteries. But it does add an extra measure of safety. Not to mention, traveling with them, you do have to show them protected. And so this really shows them protected. So, for $5.50, I think it's well worth it.
All right. We have an update from Mackie on the DLZ lineup. They have updated their NDI setup, so now it basically supports dual PC options where you can remote these in, do calibrating. They also have a sample pad mode now. There's a voice changing effects, and there's also additional language support. So very nice options coming from Mackie and their new DLZ creator line update.
The NDI thing is pretty cool. The NDI is not an audio thing typically, but it has been used in studios, particularly like a studio this size and even much larger. This is a tiny studio. But it is a way to transport normally video over IP. Mm-hmm. And so they're using it for audio. It kind of bypasses the whole need for Dante. There's a whole bunch of free tools for NDI. And there's tools to move NDI across the internet. So kudos to Mackie for kind of figuring all this stuff out.
Yeah, we're starting to see a nice introduction of NDI being incorporated into some of these mixers. So looking at you, Rode. Thanks.
Well, they're the same company now.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Wink.
There you go.
Soundcart, our friend Matt Bacon in the UK, has got some new carts coming. So one is called the Ninja that you can see is kind of like a smaller version of the Maverick. And then another one called the Co-Pilot. Looks crazy and cool, and I like the aesthetic. There's something very nice about it being symmetrical. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I enjoy it. And, it's posted on Instagram, so everything's kind of TBA in terms of pricing and availability. But Matt is one of those guys that's always improving the wheel or the wheeled things, and is very accessible in terms of custom things. And this has probably come from other customer requests. So keep an eye out for that if it's right for you.
We got wind of a new product from Point Source, specifically for comms applications. So they make some comms headsets. But they are solving the problem of when a crew person needs a comms belt pack and a walkie-talkie and needs to communicate through them simultaneously. How do you do that without wearing a surveillance in one ear and the comms headset in the other? This lets one headset talk and listen to both devices. It's got a separate push-to-talk to key the radio. In the literature that we've seen so far, they say it only works with their headsets. I'm going to challenge that. Electrically, I can't think of a reason why that is, so we'll test it here, let you know. But very, very cool new product.
Yeah, I did a reunion show yesterday, and this would have been really helpful because we had the main, kind of the studio crew that was all on comms, and then we had the, BTS ENG crew that was all on walkie. And anytime, the the studio crew, trying to support the ENG crew with battery changes and things like that. We did not have somebody on walkie, so it was all via text. So if the person, if the ENG person needed a battery change, they'd have to sit down and text, and it's just like, but what if they're booming too? So I could see where this would be very helpful, to at least have the A2s on that and be able to, very quickly walkie, which is a pretty standard reality TV thing.
Absolutely. And look, to be clear, there obviously you can hook walkie units into the Clearcom and Riedel base stations. But that's not always practical, especially for like a 1 or 2 day gig when you're going into another place's infrastructure. And this lets people seamlessly integrate the two. And looking forward to testing this and putting it through its paces.
The Deity Theos is back ordered until late March. So if you would like to go ahead and get a pre-order in, we will notify you once they become available, but should be later this month in March.
Boom Buddy has announced an educational discount program on their boom poles and cases. So a select number of items. So if you happen to be an educational institution anywhere, K through grad school, let us know if you're looking for Boom Buddy things, and we will provide you with an educational discount. And look, just to say something like Gotham, we offer educational discounts on everything that we can. So if you are an educational institution, or you're a student, or you're a professor, or, you're a student professor, or whatever, just let us know that you are one of those things, and we will provide you the best educational pricing that we can.
Phonak made an announcement. Now, I personally champion this, talking about this in this monthly wrap-up. This is admittedly not for everybody. So Phonak shook their rafters in Switzerland, and they came out with some oddball Invisities. Oddball meaning like not the typical 216 frequency range, but ranging from 158 to 202 megahertz. So you can use some of those, overlap with Electro T4 VHF. Phonak also have their own transmitter that might work with this. But if this is something that you might be interested in, they have a few of these Invisities left, including the single and the 4-channel versions. So by all means, reach out to us as soon as possible.
Right. And basically, they cleaned out their service inventory, and they were just like, well, this is everything that's left. So when it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
We do implore you to do your research. There are some TV channels in some of those areas.
Mm-hmm. Right. This is, but for sure this overlaps with VHF TV channels, so choose wisely.
And we have a few updates in firmware from Deity, the SL1 and the TC1. There are bug fixes, sound devices on their A20 series. There's added support for group all transmitter commands for record, RF power on and off, mute, format, and as well as ID. So very, very, very handy. If you have a bunch of transmitters, you'll know what I'm talking about.
And to be clear, the group power on really has been a big request that we've heard for sure.
Save them batteries.
Yep, power off specifically. Yes.
And lastly, a firmware update from Neumann on the MT48. They now have the monitor mission control firmware. This is going to be free up until later on this year.
And there's some ongoing sales. Sennheiser has sales on the EWD sets. So that's the Evolution Digital. Shure has an ongoing sale on their digital wireless. So select Axion Digital, ULXD, SLXD, QLXD. Both of these run through the end of March. And so if you need that stuff, better get it.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, TK. You can see this and so many more videos at gothamsound.tv. Please hit that like and subscribe button so you get notified. Follow us on social media. If you have any ideas, please, info@gothamsound.com. We really do read them. Thank you very much for watching.
See you next month.